Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity to give you an overview of one of the genetic innovations initiatives for the coming 3 years. So I think I only have 15 minutes, so this will be a very whirlwind tour, but please feel free to direct any questions to myself or Gustavo or Sharifa, and we'll do our best to address them. So let me just introduce the breeding services so-called network for enabling tools, technologies, and shared services initiative, and by explaining the why. So our goal here is to set up a breeding services group that is aligned with the coming One CGIAR transformations, and we want to institutionalize the services for crop agnostic breeding operations. And we want to do this where it makes sense to not for the sake of centralizing things, but where it makes sense to avoid duplication, to facilitate connections between what were previously siloed entities, and of course to increase our effectiveness and also save money. Okay, so the initiative Enabling Tools, Technologies, and Shared Services is organized into 5 work packages. Myself as the lead, and until recently, we were led by the deputy was Luis Augusto, who has recently left the CG, and Sharifa has stepped up in his place to be the deputy lead of the initiative as of a couple of weeks ago. So we have 5 initiatives here, and they can roughly be divided up into 1 initiative that's focused on strategy, 3, so focused on actually setting up the services, and then the 5th one that is focused on adoption. And I will briefly give an overview of each in the next few slides. Whoops, there's a little ringing. Okay, that's better. Okay, so the first work package is called Strategic Modernization. And the goal of this work package is really to do simulations, modeling, forecasting, also meta-analysis of previous assessments like the EiB-IITA assessments to determine which are the most critical investments for our modernization plans by crop. So this is, there's a couple different facets to this. A part of it is you've already been actively involved in with Eduardo and his team and their own biometric support folks doing breeding simulations for redesigning your breeding pipelines. A new thing that we want to add here is a collaboration with the Market Segments and Product Profiles Initiative, MIPI. And there we want to be able to have a budget forecasting capability so that we can, well, for us, the goal is to manage our breeding pipelines, but operationally. But for others, for MIPI, the goal is to have the financial information available for the investment cases that they make to the donors. So overall, in both cases, our interest is in better managing the breeding product portfolio. So that's going to be sort of one of the large new efforts coming out of this work package, where we'll try to develop a costing database that goes across centers, and also work with an economist and probably some existing software to develop this forecasting capabilities. Okay. I'm just gonna, in the interest of time, I'll just like speed through a bit. So the first of the 3 shared services work packages, the first one is cost-effective shared services, and this is where we want to take the model that's been pushed forward and realized by Eng and his team in Module 3 in setting up a global genotyping service, and we want to extend it to some other services that we think are probably ready for such coordination. We've identified 6 areas where we could have this kind of a global coordination of services, and they include genotyping, sequencing, biometrics and bioinformatics, whoops, okay, quality and biochemical testing, and high throughput phenotyping. So the 2 in the middle are probably the ones you have the most questions about. The quality and biochemical testing, that's going to be probably a big job for the next couple of years for us to figure out what exists in the CGIAR, to figure out what the demand is, and then to figure out how to develop a high quality service for all the different kinds of quality testing for different crops that we do. The high throughput phenotyping, that one's more of a, I don't expect to have a service set up for that. This is a very new area, and this is more of an effort to coordinate the investment strategy, because there's a lot of interest in doing research in this area that comes up in every center when we discuss new technologies. And right now there's a lot of smaller efforts that are being pursued independently, and it would probably be good to have more of a formal network of coordination, share expertise, shared information on providers, whether the remote sensing or analytics or what have you. So these are the 6, and I do want to go over a little bit over this slide, because we're not going to, there's going to be a lot of questions that we ask when it comes to setting up a shared service. And these are for example, when it comes to quality testing, these are the questions that we might be asking. So is the technology commercially available, or is there existing capacity in the CG? Should we adopt this technology, whether internal or external, because does it actually increase our breeding effectiveness? Can we, if we go external, can collective bargaining reduce the cost? If we go internal, is it cost competitive compared to the external options? And then, of course, accessibility is key. You might have a really good service that's located in the US, but it doesn't matter if there's no access to it for breeding programs in Africa. So these are the kinds of questions that we'll ask, plus, of course, really characterizing the demand in both the CG and the NARS, so that we can set up, in the end, what we're aiming for is a cost-effective cost recovery service for quality testing, which is not going to happen immediately. Like, the cost recovery is something that, you know, is probably like a 3-year goal to get to, but that is the goal. Okay, so work package 3, that's a service that is focused on performance management of consistent connected operations. So that is, this is going to be a small global team that is dedicated to process management in support of breeding programs. So it will have the kind of skills, like technical expertise, that will help every breeding program in their standardization, harmonization, continuous improvement efforts, whether it's process management, or project management, or documentation, communication. So we want to bring in these common organizational support capabilities, so that each breeding program, as it undergoes its modernization and continuous improvement efforts, can get support in their internal and external coordination with partners. And the other thing that we want to make happen in this work package is we're calling it a breeding performance management system, performance improvement system. So this is essentially like a dashboard to develop and track key indicators for both operational and breeding performance. And this is also a collaboration with the Market Segments and Product Profiles Initiative, because on the one hand, it's similar to the forecasting ability. On the one hand, it can help us in improving our internal efforts. On the other hand, this kind of information is really great to put in front of investors and donors to argue that this is a good place for them to put their money. So again, this is a collaboration with that team. Okay. Okay, skip over that. Work package 4 is pretty straightforward. Another shared service. This one is all about data. So this one is the breeding IT, the work package. So it will support and fund the various data management systems. For us, that means breed-based BMS and EBS that it's in use in the CGIAR networks today. And we will also support the development of a shared user support network for those data management systems. So for instance, digitization support, help desks for all 3 systems, things like that. Okay, and then work package 5 finally, I'm gonna just skip there. Work package 5 finally is the adoption one, where this is a little bit different and very complex actually. And so this is the sort of a keyword that I would like you to take away from work package 5 is regionalized capacity building. That's probably the most important. So you'll probably be contacted over the next year or so to develop region by region what are the prioritized investments that would help form regional operational support networks and subject matter support networks. And this does vary somewhat region by region. So we want to develop those kinds of plans for shared services that have regional prioritization and support them, whether in the case of knowledge networks, hiring subject matter experts, or in actually sharing operational infrastructure. So that is work package 5. And then let me skip to the last one. So the 5 work packages all kind of link together like so. If you start from the bottom and go up, there's work package 1, which is about the strategy guiding informed decisions in modernization investments. And those informed decisions will feed into developing services in work package 2, 3, and 4, and all of which hopefully will be adopted and result in modernized data-driven breeding networks. And that is it for me. How do I do on time? Oh, 2 minutes left. Okay.
Good work, Yongwe.
All right. Should I pass it forward to? Should I pass it forward to Alec then? Oh,
yeah.
Or me?
These slides are on the Dropbox. So and they're please feel free to share them. There's nothing confidential or anything in here. There's also a bunch of support slides in the back for anyone who's interested.
Yongbo, can you hear me? Do you want to go over some questions, maybe if some questions are available from the audience?
Oh, so I do have to leave for a GI initiative meeting, but I could probably stay for a couple, for about 5 minutes or so.
Okay, so if anybody has any question regarding inputs,
Okay, Ongo, thanks a lot. It seems that we don't have questions so far. Okay, maybe as we go along the process, maybe we'll collect some questions and we can always come back to them later.
Okay, yes, please do feel free to email me or Sharifa.